Nerdrotic.com.
I was a 10 to 12-year-old reading comics when I heard of this guy named Wolverine. They're like, this guy has knives out of his hands. I'm like, what the fuck? And he heals fast? I'm like, that's crazy. He's Canadian? No, I don't like that. I don't like him that. But no, he was the coolest character ever. And like buying those off the shelf, the later issues was freaking insane. And that's what made me a giant John Byrne fan overnight. Those were some of the first comics I was buying in a comic shop that was called Professor X's Comics in Oceanside, California. And reading them out of order. And the guy there, like, I just had to pepper him with questions because back in the old days, we didn't have trades. So we had to just ask people, like, what happened? And they tell you what happened. It was a great time to be reading comics. It was so fucking cool. It was good times. So I watched, like, the last couple of episodes of the original animated series about a month ago. It does okay as far as, like, going from that last episode to the next one. And then they run through, I couldn't even... There's so much lore. So it's like bullet points of lore. They do a really good job weaving a lot of characters in and out. I mean, I didn't love everything in it, but Magneto was fucking awesome. Most important part for me, Cyclops was awesome.
Hell yeah.
They got Cyclops right.
Justice for Scott Summers. I've also done a video on my YouTube channel about Scott Summers and how he has been unfairly characterized in the movies, especially. A lot of people have seen him in the movies, the Foxman movies, and they just make him such a pussy. And it's just so sad. And he's so cool in the comic books. So it's finally good to see, you know, a representation of Scott that's fair. You know, he's like, you don't have to like him, but he's not crying about Jean all the time, for Christ's sake. But they set him up purposely to make him look like an asshole because they want you to root for Wolverine in the films. And, you know, that sucks, man. This is the leader of the X-Men. Like, show some respect.
Yeah, and there was the right amount of Wolverine in this. Like, it's not the Wolverine show at all. He's like a side character, doesn't appear in episodes.
Logan, he's here.
Apocalypse.
The baby!
Oh, crap.
So people were complaining that they reduced Rogue's booty a little bit, but they didn't do anything with Storm. Storm looking good towards the end there, especially. Looking really good. Might owe Bo DeMeo a little apology because he did a good job. And they fucking fired him. They fired him, which is unbelievable. Who knows what he did? But it couldn't be that bad because he's still talking about it on Twitter, right? So he's still talking about the show a little bit on
Promoting
Twitter. Yeah.
Like after he got fired, he went radio silent for a while. You know what I mean? And that was like wasn't that a couple days before the premiere?
Yes. Yeah. And he was talking about it all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
So
I posted it last night that I watched the first episode and I really enjoyed it, and a lot of people were like, yeah, totally, it's great. But then I got a good number of people that just say, I don't even want to watch it because it's a company that hates me or has made so many pieces of crap. They do not deserve my time, which I totally understand. Like, it sucks that this show came out in this time because it respects the original show. It has fantastic animation and action. The choreography and the way that they did everything was very well done. The characters are intriguing. Again, like you guys were saying, I really like Scott Summers' character set up in this, like his dilemma with leading the X-Men, and he might have to leave the X-Men or he wants to leave. And then the drop at the end of that first episode with Magneto taking over everything from Professor X. It's so good. And it's not being seen because Disney sucks and because they've put out so many pieces of crap.
Dude, I was so stressed out before I watched the first episode. Like, everybody online was like, Danika, you gotta watch it. Go watch it. And I was just like, oh, I'm so scared. Oh, they're gonna fuck it up. Oh. And then I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad. We can do this. I just didn't think that they were going to be able to make anything that was good after what they've been putting out. Obviously, it's just so shitty. So it's like an awesome wave of relief washed over me. You know, I had that Patrick Bateman moment where he's just like, sees he has got a good table at the restaurant, you know, and I was just like, oh, thank God.
So the animation, I know it was getting some complaints from Jeremy, who's not here, that's fair enough. But I thought it was fine. I thought the animation was fine.
Fantastic.
The music's really good. They nail that freaking theme song. And there's no characters that annoy the crap out of me. There's like a couple of character changes that I'm like, eh. But I mean, my biggest problem with it, I don't want to spoil too much, is the problem I had with the comic books. It's the same problem. It's like, how can you have the X-Men existing in this world with the rest of the Marvel universe and like the Avengers are like sitting on their hands and shit? It's
right.
Like, that's always been a big fucking problem. But we do get to see Spider-Man, Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, Silver Samurai. You kind of see Reed Richards. You kind of see Hulk. And Cap has a scene. Iron Man.
I love that. That's awesome.
That was my problem. I was like, what the hell is Iron Man doing just sitting there? Who gives a shit about the president? Okay. Like, Iron Man would not be sitting there he'd be off saving people. But seeing Spidey was cool. That made my kids so happy.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, you're right. I would never recommend you get Hulu or Disney Plus or any bundle to go watch this. Like, if you want to watch it, be creative. That's it.
Even though I do have some issues with it, I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the means, but I also think that they got what's important about the X-Men. They really nailed the fucking drama, the interpersonal relationships. They just got that so well done. And I was just like, yes, that's what I'm here for. I mean, that's the thing that I love about the X-Men is that all these really great male characters, you have really great female characters. They have all these really intricate interpersonal relationships. And even though, yes, they're fighting against evils and discrimination and all sorts of things, it's really, you're there to see, or for me, I was there for their interpersonal relationships and to see them be a team and be a family. Some of them are friends, some of them are lovers, some of them are somewhere in between.
My biggest criticism of X-Men the comic book, why I dipped out so much, is because it got too soapy. It got way too soapy for me. So I was like, I need some more fighting. I need some more fighting and epic battles. And that's why I always stuck with Daredevil. But Daredevil got soapy too. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, a lot.
I feel like you need a balance, right? If it's literally just nonstop fucking action and that's all it is, it's like whatever. You have to care about the people in a different way, right? You have to care about what's going on with their lives and stuff. But if you make it all about that, then that could drive people away too. So you gotta have a good balance for any type of great show.
I was thinking about how it reminded me, I didn't make this connection before, but like Star Trek The Next Generation, where you have this team of people who are on a mission together and they have all these different relationships, but then some of them, are lovers and some of them used to be lovers and da-da-da-da. And although through Next Gen, it's really Riker. Riker's like the hub of all the sexuality of the show.
Scott has the biggest problem throughout this series with Madeline Pryor. It's the weirdest love triangle. So he has a baby with a clone of Jean Grey, but he's more in love with the clone than he...
Well, I feel like, okay, so there's two genes. Give one to Logan. Logan can have one too.
So
everybody wins.
Well, the thing is, the clone was pregnant with Nathan, so there's more of an attachment there. He still loves Jean, right?
So the mental affair thing, there was only one little image of that in the show, and they didn't really get into it too much. But in the comic books, Grant Morrison had to run the new X-Men, and in that, Emma Frost is the one who's counseling Scott, and they have a psychic affair.
Yes, they do.
And then Jean walks in on them.
Communicating via psychic rapport was our thing, Scott.
Just stop and let me explain, please.
Explain what?
My biggest complaint, though, about X-Men 97 was that they just burned through fucking storylines at light speed. They're making the same mistake that Game of Thrones made. Oh, we're just going to burn through the first book in one season. And it's like, no. You could take the first book and have 2 to 3 seasons easy.
Has Samba TV reported ratings on this at all?
No, but here's the thing with that.
Yeah.
When it comes to these fucking animated shows, if you're expecting it to get the audience of even the worst viewed live action shit, I just wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I agree. It's 30 minutes long. I think the word of mouth on this is great. Whether it charts or not, it doesn't matter. It's getting a second season. The biggest problem is Bo DeMayo's not going to be running it.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
We're talking about an animated show that's not geared for kids, right? An animated show that's geared towards people our age.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to have the same appeal as most of the other stuff.
Well, they left the animated series on a huge cliffhanger, and they did that with Spider-Man too, which was terrible. But yeah, I liked it.
It was so horny, though. X-Men 97 was so fucking horny. I loved it. Like the fucking Magneto and the little Speedo on the fucking X thing. What is that about? And then Magneto with Rogue, their whole thing, Gambit was such a fucking cool guy about it. Remy was just like, hey, man, I get it. We're still friends, babe. And it was just like, hell yeah, man. He's such a good fucking dude. And man, the way he went out, I fucking cried when they did the Genosha genocide shit. I mean, that shit got me. I was like, bro,
that was
whoa.
Really well done.
Sugar. I can't feel you.
From Disney, outside of maybe part of phase 3, this is the most Marvel thing they've ever done. This is the most pure Marvel, comic book thing they have done.
Imagine this. Imagine Endgame happens. They don't make anything. They stop. And this is what they drop. They go, hey, we haven't been doing anything in the MCU lately, but here's some X-Men show. Phase 4, start with Fantastic Four, period piece in the past, right into X-Men.
If you didn't read the comic books and you ever go to Universal Studios in Florida and you go to their Marvel part, that's what I'm talking about. That's what Marvel is. Disney is not anywhere near that anymore. As far as the interest, I think Ryan's right. I mean, I wouldn't go out there and call it a flop. I mean, how do we even know? Like, you would have to compare it to What If.
Now, reportedly, it did get less than What If, which was a surprise.
That's not good. But
the problem is that X-Men 97, before this came out, was always revered. People loved it. It's always spoken about highly, even today. Then Marvel announced that they're going to bring back X-Men 97, and you cannot, in any capacity, blame people for going, no, 2024 Disney, Marvel are going to make this. Yep. I'm done. I'm out already. You can't blame them for that. You can't blame them for not giving them a try.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.